Hi, it's Jess here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm bringing you a masculine card, and I made this card for the Crafty Blog Hops blog hop, and the theme was masculine. And you might think, oh, it's pink, Jez, but you know, it's a shirt card, and men wear pink now, and why shouldn't they? So interesting thing about pink and blue, meaning boy and girl, was when they were first assigned a gender. Pink was actually boy, male, because it was bright and strong, and blue was female because it was sort of calming. Yeah, and then it got changed to the other way around. So there you go, just a little bit of fact there for you. Anyway, I used to teach that when I taught A-level sociology, and yes, people were always surprised. So I'm going to make this again in a different colour, and I'm just going to show you the products that I used in it. So the Happy Birthday has come from Floral Season. I'm using the stitched rectangles to get our stitching round the collar, and I'm using the layered stitch nested label dies to give us our pocket shape and our little sort of handkerchief poking out. And then to get these buttons, I don't know if you can see, I've used a little bauble from this Little Treats die set. I wanted something small, and it just, if you can see, and then I've drawn little crosses to show the stitching. That's what I've done. So got all my bits here ready. So I'm using extra thick Whisper White as the card base. I'm choosing this colour for the card, for the shirt. And so then I've got the biggest rectangle, the stitch nested label, and then in that set you get this piece here that doesn't cut, it gives you an impression, and I've used this to create the sort of stitching across there, and so that it looks like you've got that little doubled effect. I wanted to do it down the edge of the card, but it wasn't long enough. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to cut the whole shirt sort of card base out of this, and then and I'm going to go in a second time and cut a strip so that we've got stitching down both sides to have like a runner for the shirt, because I think that would look a bit better personally. So we're going to do some die cutting. So I will be cutting this out of this. I'm going to cut like half of one of these, and then I'm going to cut a sort of a diagonal shape like so to give us the collar of the shirt. So I'm going to cut those out, and then we'll piece them together. So I just thought I'd show you how I did the detail in the pocket. So this is cutting out that bit there. So we've got our pocket, and now I want to do the edging in it. So I'm taking this piece here, and I'm just going to lay it just past the edge there. Pass that through. And you get that sort of effect there. Can you see little stitch marks? And then I'm going across a bit further down. It's nice because it's got the checks on it. You can see that it's in a straight line, and then I just run that back through. And that's how you get those sort of double stitched line there for the pocket. And then with this bit that's left, this is going to form our collar piece. So I'm just sort of checking that I've got enough there, so I'm just going to put that down the side like so, and just cut that edge off, and then we'll trim it afterwards. So just line that up on the edge like so. You can of course do this without having stitched edging. I just thought it gave a nice effect. So that's going to give us our stitching like so. And then I'll just trim off on the underside. Now what I want is to create a line down here. So what I'm thinking of doing is lining that back up on here. You can kind of feel when it locks into one of the stitches on there. She says failing to do it there. So that's locked into a stitch there. So I can cut this edge off. It's difficult because this is 6 inches wide. I want it to go on an angle. So let's move that over there so that we can put that on an angle. It doesn't actually matter if you mess up the top a bit, because it's going to get covered. It's going to be this end actually. It's going to get covered with the collar. So I'm just going to move that down a little bit. I'm going to follow that line there. I'm going to move it over actually, because it will cut slightly on the inside. And then that will give us our double stitched edge on the side like so. Fingers crossing this. I haven't tried it out. This is like working in my head. Not sure it's going to work in real life. I might have just fluffed up both ends. Let's have a little look see. No, we're doing all right. So we have got a little bit there, but it doesn't matter because that's going to get covered with the collar piece. So you're not actually going to see that bit there, but now we've got this nice sort of stitch effect ready to put the buttons on, which is what I wanted. Okay. Oh, and then the other thing I want to do, so I'm just going to work on top of my big shot here, is I need to stamp our happy birthday here on a bit of Whisper White. So that we can see where to cut our bit that's going to be our hanky. I'm going to put it slightly on the side. So I may have done that far too near the top. I have. So we'll stamp that again. A little bit closer to the bottom of that. So we'll just come down a bit with that happy birthday. So that's better. So I'm going to line this up so that the Y and the H cover this sort of diagonal bit, and that should hopefully be straight. And then we'll just run that through. So this is exactly the same size as the pocket. So that will just poke up from the pocket like it's a little handkerchief poking out. Okay, so now let's put this away and we're ready to assemble the card. Okay, so I then cut this bauble out here. I just put it on the edge of scraps, and what you have is it's a bauble shape, so it's got a little bit at the end, so you've got to chop that off. So just using my snips, I just sort of follow the curve a bit, and then I just take a Stampin' Right marker and I just do a cross in the middle for the stitching. There is a little sort of star shape in the middle that you can follow, but that's how I got the buttons. Okay, so now we just need to snip this top bit off. So imagine that was still attached. We've got our collar there that's going to come down there. So we're going to cut along there. So I'm going to take my long scissors and I'm just going to go from there all the way across. Like so. And that gives us our collar shape for the top of the shirt. And then we've got a little bit of scrap left over for something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this down. So this is trimmed down to 5.5. So it's our normal A4 scored at 4 1/8. And then I've cut it down to 5.5. If you're using American size cardstock, then it's just normal for you, your normal card base. So I'm going to stick this down with my Tombow. Oh, I've had the lid off that for a while, so let's see, will it come out? Quite possibly not, needs a pin in it. So we'll use this one, which for some reason is quite runny. As you can see, it's partly why I decanted it, so it wouldn't be so runny. I'm going to get a little bit of scrap, spread that around a bit. Tombow's never normally this runny. Oh well, that'll do. So there we go. So that's given us our double stitched edge there. Got a little bit of ink on my finger, but that will get covered up, I'm sure, by the button. I'll just make sure I put the button there. Okay, so we're gonna stick our collar top there, but I want a button at the top, so I'm going to stick this button on first. I didn't do that on this one, and then I had to sort of poke it under, so I am remembering this time. And I've just remembered I do actually have a handy pin, so I'm gonna use this because the other one, it'll just come out too fast for this little amount. There we go. Don't know if it's because I've had the heating on up here, because it's been cold. If that's why this is coming out quite runny, because even this is coming out quite runny, but thankfully, because it's a needle at the end, we're not getting blodges. There we go. So it's just a little bit there where there we go. So you can just see the button popping down there. I'm going to put a button on the end of the collar because they're quite smart shirts when they've got a button down collar. Gonna put one over where I've just smudged there. One at the bottom. And then we'll just put them in the two gaps. Do like making shirt cards. First time I've ever done a shirt card like this. I've done the All We Go On Me folded shirts, but never one like this. I think it's dead cute. There we go. And then we just need to put these together. So I'm going to put a bit of glue along there. And then glue that down straight as possible. I'm going to put my button on there, and then I'm going to use dimensionals to pop the pocket up. So I do hope you'll go and check out the blog hop if you haven't already. I think it's really handy to have masculine card ideas. It does seem to be the one that people do struggle with. And so I am looking forward to getting lots of ideas from it, because I have two sons and their dad, and I have a brother and several brother-in-laws, father-in-law, uncles that I make cards for. So it is very handy to have lots of ideas. So I'm going to stick that there. I have got the plaid lines going down so that I can see where's straight. So there we have it. So we've got one where I haven't cut it down and one where I have. And if you can see there where we've got double stitching going on, and we haven't got it on that one, so you can see the difference there. So hope you like that. All the details will be over on nigezza.co.uk, and I'll link to the blog hop in that blog as well, so you can go and look what everybody else has created. So I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.